Stop waiting. Time is going. The clock is ticking. Life isn't waiting for you. These dreams you have, they're not going to wait for you until you take action. Start with what you have. Stop waiting till you have everything figured out. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Favor, and today we are going to be talking about starting with what you have. This is something that I really think I would have benefited from if I had known years back. And thankfully it's not too late and I've still got many years, but I just want to share this because I know there's so many people who have dreams, you have things you want to do, businesses you want to start, or podcasts or YouTube or anything, a product you want to launch, and you're waiting for the right time. You're waiting for the time when you have everything figured out, you have all the resources, you have all the connections, the clients, and it's stopping you from making that first move. And I've been there. I know very much what that feels like. Feeling stuck, having this goal of where you want to get to, but feeling like you're not able or ready to make that first move. So in this video, I'm going to be sharing some tips to help you overcome that initial hurdle and help you kickstart whatever it is that you're wanting to do. So I'm going to start off with a story from the Bible. So whether you believe in God or not, I think the principle of this story is definitely something that we can take away with us and use it in our lives to help us to overcome those initial hurdles with starting whatever it is we want to start. So this is a story about Moses and the burning bush, where Moses has met with God at a burning bush, and God has basically told Moses that he wants him to lead the Israelites. Moses' response is basically saying that he is not qualified for the job, that he doesn't know how to lead, and that he can't do it. And God has basically asked Moses, show me what's in your hand. And Moses replies, it's a rod or a staff, because Moses was a shepherd and he would lead the sheep. And so God tells Moses to throw that on the ground. And when Moses throws it on the ground, it turns into a snake. And then God tells Moses to pick it back up. And when he picks it back up, it turns back into a rod. And the significance of that story is God basically asked Moses, what's in your hand? What do you have at your disposal to use? And through the story, God turns that rod into a snake, which shows that he can transform whatever you have into something extraordinary. But it's about using what we have rather than what we think we need to fulfill whatever we want to fulfill. So that's definitely the principle that I want to share in this video, of using what you have and not waiting till you have everything to make that first move. And for example, starting this channel, I had a lot of resistance to it, holding off for a while because I didn't feel like I was ready. I didn't feel like I knew everything I needed to know to share the knowledge that I wanted to share. I'm still a work in progress. There's certain things that I haven't figured out yet, but still I've faced the fear and I've done it anyway. I don't want to wait till I become that version of myself before I start certain things that I've wanted to do in my life. I believe that rather you get to that version of yourself by taking these steps, even at the points where you feel like you haven't reached that point. Inevitably, you will get to that point. It's weird. I feel like in life, you have your future self, and I saw this thing on TikTok which was saying that your future self is trying to connect to your present self. It's calling out to your present self. And once I thought about that, I was like, wow, that's so true. Our future self wants our present self to get to where we want to be. We have to take the increment steps to get to that place or that person that we want to be in the future. And there's just no way you can do that without taking the first step. So here are a few tips to help you overcome some of the obstacles that often stop people from making that first move. So tip number one is to use your current resources. Look around and see, what do you have at your disposal that you can use to start off. If it's a YouTube channel that you're wanting to start, you can use your phone. You don't need the latest camera to start a YouTube channel. I remember when I was starting making uploads on YouTube, that was definitely something I thought I needed to be able to start a YouTube channel, and it's not needed. The quality of what you're sharing is more important than the camera, that it's being filmed on. Obviously, you need a certain balance, but often the hardest part is starting. So once you eliminate the obstacle, so for example, if it's YouTube, a lot of people think you need a professional camera. If you just start using your phone, then you at least get into the habit of making videos, and then you can progress to getting a better camera down the line. But at least you started and you've built a community. So it goes to the same way. Whether it's a business, use what you have. You don't necessarily need to outsource things at the initial stages. Do it yourself. There's things like Canva, there's even AI now that does things for you. So at that early stage, just do it yourself. And with that, you'll be able to learn and build the skills and know how to do the things for yourself before then bringing other people on board. But that is another thing that stops people from starting businesses, because they think I need to have this connection or have this amount of money to be able to start. But if you just start with what you have, then you can slowly build to where you want to get to. To be honest, with a lot of this is the psychological part. So once you're able to overcome the initial obstacle of being able to start, it's a big thing because it helps you get into the practice of doing things with limited resources. And a lot of the time when you're doing things with limited resources, then you end up being more creative, which is great at the initial stages, because then you're more hands-on, you have better understanding of what you're doing, you're not just outsourcing it to other people. So look around and see what you have at your disposal and start with that. On a side note, if you're hearing loud bangs, that's because it's bonfire night, so there's tons of fireworks going on. Just please ignore that. I can't close the window because my camera keeps overheating. Just gonna have to power through, right? So the second tip is to embrace imperfection. There's no doubt that when you're starting something new, there'll definitely be room for improvement. But that shouldn't stop you from making that first move. Improvement is gradual. Rome isn't built in a day, it takes time. So be patient with yourself and give yourself grace to know that where you're starting, there's always a starting point. And everything that ends up being great always has the initial point where it's not so good. So just remember that when you're starting something new, your first attempt might not be perfect, and that's okay. It's not about perfection, it's about progress. It's about the journey, not the destination, and about the incremental improvements you make that get you to where you want to be. And with that, you learn more throughout the process than simply being at the point where you want to be. Just remember that every great masterpiece started off as a work in progress. Tip number 3 is to set small, unachievable goals. This is something that definitely helps when you're looking at a long-term goal or something that just seems too insurmountable a goal for you to achieve. And I definitely think that it's better to set smaller goals and break it down so it makes things digestible and more attainable. You can do this by making a to-do list every day and, note down things that you want to accomplish in that day and check them off to make sure that you stay accountable to yourself. This method helps to break down your goals and make them more attainable and less daunting to achieve. And it's also good because you are able to celebrate those small victories, which are really important in spurring you on, keeping you motivated to reach that goal. Being able to achieve those smaller goals helps you to trust yourself, because when you're able to show up for yourself and do the things that you said you were going to do, then it spurs you on to do it consistently, and eventually you will get to that point where you want to be. So tip number 4 is to keep learning, keep adapting, and keep growing. The journey to success is a continuous learning process, so it's important to make sure you stay informed, but also not to be rigid, but be open to change, be open to learning new things, looking at things in a different perspective, being able to be open to other people's perspective and things. Reading is really great, and that's something I've started doing. It helps to widen your horizons, and so you're not just thinking one-dimensionally. Knowledge is power, and so the more you know, the more knowledgeable you'll be about whatever it is you're learning or aspiring to become. Tip number 5 is don't procrastinate. And I know this from personal experience. Often with my music, when I'm writing a new song, I'm naturally a perfectionist, so I'm trying to get the song as best as I can before I release it. But you have to make that conscious decision that this is the point where I feel I've taken it far enough and I've done the best I can, and I'm going to let go of it and trust and hope that it's received well. A lot of the time with songs that I write, if I leave it too long, I realize that they end up just not coming out because, the moment has passed or I've lost interest in a song. So now I try to hold on to that initial excitement and initial drive I have when I'm writing something, and give myself a deadline to have it completed by and release it into the world. So if there's anything you want to do not procrastinate. Start today. There's no better time to start than the present. And I'll leave you with a quote by Mark Cuban, who said that perfection is the enemy of success. There's no such thing as perfect. So there you have it. 5 tips to help you start with what you have right now. Remember, the perfect moment may never come, but the power to start is in your hands. If you found this video helpful, please give it a like and make sure you subscribe for more videos in the future. Keep dreaming big and taking action. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon. Bye.